Curfew extended 1 hour for New Providence and Grand Bahama respectively. More vaccines shipped to the Family Islands and more bloodshed on the streets of the capital. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian with your Jcn News for this Monday, June 21st. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis announcing a number of changes in the emergency powers orders, including a number of restrictive measures being relaxed, effective tonight. Here's Leah Cooper with the details.
The level of progress the country has achieved in the management of COVID-19 during this current period allows the government to make a few changes to the emergency orders. This much coming from Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis this morning in the House of Assembly as he wrapped up the 2021-2022 budget debate.
On New Providence, the daily curfew will move from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. And Mr. Speaker, I should note that the health professionals will monitor progress over the next few days. And New Providence will then be able to move from 11 p.m. to 12 midnight, depending on the outcome. On Grand Bahama, the curfew will move from 11 p.m. to 12 midnight. That's 12 midnight to 5 a.m.
Abaco, he says, will likewise be moved to 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Cat Island will be moved to 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and North and Central Andros will be moved to 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. The Prime Minister adds that the more individuals that become vaccinated, the more the country can open. He also reveals that the aim is to fully reopen in several months. Dr. Minnis also announced expanded benefits of vaccinated individuals.
Individuals who are fully vaccinated can engage in the following: private gatherings and other social events in their homes and elsewhere. May now be held provided all the attendees are fully vaccinated. You can interpret that. The young people will interpret it party on. But you can interpret that. Indoor dining in restaurants was already approved weeks ago for fully vaccinated individuals.
Dr. Minnis also announced that the RT-PCR test requirement for travel to and from Cat Island, Andros, and Grand Bahama will be removed immediately. He adds that as of July 1st, the $10 charge for a health visa for fully vaccinated Bahamians returning to the Bahamas will be removed. Add to that, on New Providence, funeral and memorial services will also be permitted in a church or other indoor facility in accordance with the health protocols of the Bahamas Christian Council guidelines approved by the Ministry of Health. And there's no requirement to be fully vaccinated. Repasses, however, are still not permitted on New Providence and Paradise Island, Grand Bahama, mainland Abaco, Eleuthera, Harper Island, and Exuma.
Wedding receptions will now be permitted on New Providence and Grand Bahama, provided that all attendees are fully vaccinated with both doses of COVID-19. That is indoor, having a good time. The host of wedding receptions, private gatherings, and other social events will be responsible for verifying that guests are fully vaccinated. And I showed you on the phone how can be done very easily. Hosts and guests will be subject to fines for non-compliance. COVID-19 ambassadors will continue to carry out patrols to reinforce adherence to emergency orders. All performance groups and artists, including bands, jungle groups, dance groups, and acting groups, may perform at all activities permitted under the emergency powers orders, provided all performers are fully vaccinated.
The number of people allowed to gather in groups on beaches and parks will also be increased from 5 to 15 people on New Providence and Paradise Island, Grand Bahama, mainland Abaco, Eleuthera, Harbor Island, and Great and Little Exuma. Reporting for Jcn News, I'm Leah Cooper.
Meantime, Carnival and Royal Caribbean Cruises have agreed to a new combined investment of approximately $350 million in the Grand Bahama shipyard, this much coming from the Prime Minister in the House of Assembly this morning. Now, to understand the scale of this investment, you may recall that the original investment and other investments to date in the shipyard have totaled approximately $250 million. The new investment, according to the Prime Minister, will match this and exceed it by $100 million.
The proposed infrastructure works will replace the 2 damaged docks with even larger ones. And the new docks will be capable of handling and servicing the largest ships in the world. Grand Bahama, Mr. Speaker, will become the largest cruise ship repair facility in the world.
The PM adds that this will result in a noticeable increase in employment and economic activity on Grand Bahama and for local businesses throughout Freeport and Grand Bahama.
So let me say, so all in Grand Bahama can hear, Grand Bahama is on the move. I repeat, Mr. Speaker, Grand Bahama is on the move and Grand Bahama is coming back. The government and the owners of the shipyard will work on a new partnership agreement that benefits the people of Grand Bahama.
Dr. Minna says more details will be presented in the weeks and months ahead. He also notes that expansion works on Grand Bahama Shipyard will begin as early as October this year. The Prime Minister says this is a sign of progress, a sign of hope, and a sign of confidence, as this is one of the biggest investments in Grand Bahama in its history. Health officials confirming 14 cases of COVID-19 for Sunday, June 20th. This much coming from update number 451 this morning. 12 cases confirmed here in New Providence, 1 on Grand Bahama and 1 on Inagua. The national count now stands at 12,364. A further breakdown of the cases indicate that 6 are males and 8 are females. There's now 715 active cases in country, 39 of which are in hospital, 37 listed as moderately ill, while 2 are in the intensive care unit. 10 recoveries were also reported on Sunday, pushing total recoveries to 11,322. The death toll remains at 243, with 28 deaths under investigation. To date, 104,208 tests have been completed. Family Islanders receiving their second tranche of COVID-19 vaccines. Health officials this morning gathered at Odyssey Aviation Airstrip to send off thousands of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine to islands in southern Bahamas and Andros. Our Laurencia Smith was at Odyssey and files this report.
Family Islands receiving its second shipment of COVID-19 vaccine. In fact, through a partnership with the United States Embassy and the Rhode Island National Guard, approximately 13 Family Islands will receive the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine this week. Health Minister Renwick Wells, during his remarks on the deployment of the second tranche in the Family Islands from Odyssey Aviation Airstrip this morning, says the government recognized that the delay in the uptake of vaccines by those eligible can place the entire Bahamian population at risk, adding that the government is grateful for the willingness of the Rhode Island National Guard to partnership with them.
Yesterday comes at a time when our country is still vulnerable to the effects of Hurricane Dorian, as you all know, and the COVID-19 pandemic. With our nation being archipelagic, sometimes we are unable to have all of our people benefit from the resources at the same time, because we must fly out to each of our family of islands and keys to carry the benefits of resources to the Bahamian people. When governmental resources are low, this can be a challenge for us, as all of you are aware. At this time, the COVID-19 vaccine is another urgent resource we must ensure Bahamians have access to during this COVID-19 pandemic. During the first tranche of the vaccines received by the COVAX facility with the assistance of PAHO, the Rhode Island National Guard, otherwise known as RING, played a pivotal role a few months ago to organize flights and transport vaccines to the Bahamian people in the Family Islands. They are here today to assist with the second tranche and deployment of vaccines to the Family Islands.
The health minister says some 7,640 more doses will be deployed this week to Bahamians, with those in Acklins, Crooked Island, Makewana, Inagua, and Andros receiving doses on Monday. On Tuesday, residents on Long Island, Cat Island, San Salvador, Exuma, and the Berry Islands will receive their vaccine doses. Eleuthera and Rumkey can expect to receive some on June 23rd, and Bimini will receive their supply on June 25th. The minister says that health officials are pleased with the number of residents who have stepped forward to get the jab of AstraZeneca.
We've had an extreme interest, and the question has been, when were we going to be able to come back to the Family of Islands to give many Bahamians that second dose? And what we found is a lot of Bahamians in the Family of Islands who were sort of hesitant initially and have now stepped forward, seeing that so many individuals globally have been vaccinated. I think it's now around about 2.7 billion persons who would have received at least the first jab of a particular COVID vaccine. And so I think that's beginning to lend some sense of confidence to Bahamians that the vaccines are safe.
National COVID-19 Vaccine Consultative Committee co-chair Ed Fields concurring with the health minister, adding that the committee has gotten strong indication that more Family Islands residents want to receive their first dose. When asked how the numbers are looking for the second doses, Mr. Fields says this.
We know that as we move along, the eligible vaccinees stay constant. So that means that something like, in the 80% level are getting vaccinated, and that's even prior to us adding in the Family Island vaccination. So it's fairly high. Second dose uptake is fairly high.
Now, Minister Wells also spoke to residents who have received their vaccines in the U.S. He revealed that close to 3,000 Bahamians have gone to the United States to receive either Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson vaccines.
What we've asked those individuals who've been vaccinated to do is to just visit the government's platform, vax.gov.bs, and just sign up and just indicate to us that you've already taken the vaccine in the United States, whether you have taken one dose of Pfizer or whether you've been fully vaccinated. We would like to be able to have that requisite information. There's another way that we're going to correlate that data. As you know, as Bahamians come into the country, they have to fill out the tourism visa. And what we're finding out is a lot of Bahamians who have been vaccinated are indicating to us that they have been vaccinated and they do not want to be able to take the RT-PCR test.
More than 79,000 Bahamians and residents have received at least the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm Laurentia Smith for Jcn News.
You're watching Jcn News. Stay with us.